truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Beat my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change. Ain't no harm by the things we do or the trouble that we get into. Other than a wild hair once in a while, we can't help it, it's just our style. Good old boys is all we'll ever be. I got an alimony payment that's 6 weeks overdue. I got caught with a truck full of bootleg out-of-state booze. Hocked my wife's diamond ring.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash, Brent, glad you're all here. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining us on, what is it? Monday, November 3rd. I had to think of the date for a minute. New month, new time zone. Well, new time. We're not on a new time zone, but we're back to standard
It's not
time.
like we're Newfoundland. Living in a...
That'd be fun, though, wouldn't
I'm
it?
living in a sound check. It's always like, does it sound good? Does it sound good? Is the sound there? Does it sound
I hope
good?
it's there. We're there.
Fantastic. The
Greg
Wade and Carter
Garcia,
weather.
Scott Tomko, Ricky King on the podium before we get to the Wade and Carter weather.
Oh, well, you go ahead.
I just did.
Our timing's off, Cody. Our timing is not good. Cody's mic's off. That's not necessarily bad. The Wade and Carter weather is brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed. For everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. For those of you in our multi-regional area that now involves Palacios and Beeville and you name it,
Welcome.
Calhoun County and DeWitt County and
Gonzales
Goliad
County.
Amen. Welcome to the No Bull Network. Welcome to Magic 95.9 FM, the mothership here in Victoria.
KTMV TV in Corpus.
All of that preamble to tell you, you can come by Deerland Feed and just go in and say, I need a Wade and Carter funnel. And they're going to give you a red funnel. I think it's still 99 cents. I don't know how anybody can take the time to hand apply a price tag to something for 99 cents. I would call that
The
funnel,
labor is more than that.
the funnel could be known as a loss leader.
Probably is.
47 degrees in Victoria, Texas, under a sunny sky. No kidding. The sun is already up. Heading to a high today of 78. You can look right there. We have the windows blacked out because it's kind of like the Elvis Presley homage studio. But the light is coming through our film. And it's bright.
Nice sunset last night.
Yeah, at 5.
Yeah, 5:30.
Anybody tired of that already? I like for it to get dark at 9 o'clock.
I like the light in the morning, but I like it light later as well.
Where could we live on the planet? Is it closer to the equator or away from the equator that would let us go to bed at 9 just as it's getting dark and wake up at 6 with it already being light?
Montana.
Can you tweak the master up just a touch?
Just a touch.
Yeah, we got a couple saying they just can't hear it, but otherwise, I think
That's
All right,
more. That's a touch.
That's a touch.
That was a slap. That was open
There we
hand.
go.
we're still testing stuff after the work we did this
So-
weekend. So
Feel free to, if you're hearing us, if you're on the radio and things don't sound right, 894-4020. That's 361-894-4020.
Linda Chris liked the extra hour of sleep.
Yeah. So, okay, so see, this sounds right. The other day, John Paul Hull said that he had trouble, that there was a problem. It didn't matter how loud he made his radio, it didn't get loud enough.
I'll put that up a
These
little
are
bit.
things I don't know.
if John Paul Hull has access to come sit at the studio, he can always do that.
I'm trying. He does. He could just walk in.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out where the static comes from, and I vow that we will
John
spare.
Paul says, "Don't bring me into this."
We will spare no expense to eliminate that. I want it to be crystal clear for you folks.
That's the next one.
Yeah, we got the popping gone this weekend. That was step one.
Monty Howard adds, the equator is less important than where you are in the time zone. Well, I guess that's true too. But no, but Monty, I see what you're saying. We could move the time zone in such a way so that you didn't go to bed until 9 o'clock. It'd be dark at 9 o'clock at night. I get that, but that means the sun's going to come up at noon the next day.
Yeah. Yellowknife, I mean, it's almost in the Northwest Territories. It's just, in the summer, it's like sunny all day. It gets like gray, like a thunderstorm gray at night. I don't think it gets completely dark.
See, that's what I'm saying is let's say that you're going to have, I don't know, so say 12 hours of daylight, let's call it. So if you made it right now, we just set our clocks ahead 3 hours. It would get dark tonight at 9 o'clock, but it would also get sunny tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Torn Bells with a solid point says that our studio problems could be a landlord problem, which in this case would be John Paul Hull.
Yeah.
No, you know what? We'll blame that on Geets. I don't even think Geets knows we're here.
Probably not.
If you want to know the
Don't
truth,
mention him.
yeah, I don't think Geets knows we're here.
Shh.
Don't
give them reason to
No.
let us know. Let them know we're
these
here.
guys. I mean, Geets is like, I think I own that building. I've never been there. I mean, they're not worried about things like rent.
Yeah, there you go. We're not the only ones, apparently. El Pozo had similar problems this morning as well, according to Linda Christ.
You know what we both have in common? Junior samples. That's the problem. That could be the problem.
Yeah. Where do you want to start?
Somewhere interesting.
Start with the World Series.
There's dozens of people
Classic
listening.
World Series.
I thought it was a fantastic World Series. We have not talked about this, oddly enough, at all. It did not end the way I wanted it to. I wanted the Blue Jays to win, number one, for my Canadian cohort, and number two, for George Springer. I thought he had a great series.
And Miles Straw plays for him, too. I didn't even realize that. They actually traded for Miles Straw.
Well, did you know, what is the kid's name, the catcher that, was it you that told me this?
Kirk? Alejandro Kirk?
No, for the Dodgers.
Will Smith?
Was it you that told me this yesterday?
Told you what?
Did you know, Cody, confirm, Will Smith, not Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith, the catcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, has been on the last 6 World Series winning teams.
No wonder he wasn't so excited when they did the post-game interviews with him. He was the only one really just kind of there.
It's out
Yeah,
of...
been there, done that.
Yeah, he's got 6 rings in a row. He was with the Dodgers in 20, yada, 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 the Astros in 22, 7, he's been there 6 times in a row.
I don't remember him with the Astros.
He
in
won with the
22,
Rangers. Very interesting.
He's only won 3 times, according to Google.
Okay.
2020, 2025.
He was with us in 22.
I think that was a different Will Smith. That was the pitcher, wasn't
So
it?
maybe there was somebody named Will
I
Smith.
think so. Good morning, Marina.
Hello, Marina.
Hello, Melissa Hanson, David Glass,
Looking forward to seeing you.
Heather Stewart.
So is Dawn, by the way. Yeah, very interesting. But
Yes. According to MLB.com as well, only 3 rings.
there you go. So thank you for that. Could there
I think
be
it was a
anybody?
meme. I think it was a meme because I fell for it too.
Could there be anybody less consequential? Not forget that he hit 1 home run at a good time. He
I thought you were
reminds
talking
me.
about me.
He reminds me of Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's got 6 NBA championships and mattered never.
Who's Steve Kerr?
There you go. He's the coach of the
Golden State Warriors.
Golden State Warriors now.
He was a
but
pretty decent point guard. Or what was he?
he was
Shooting
okay.
guard?
Yeah, we don't know because he didn't matter.
Play much.
We don't know. We just don't know. We know he was the token white guy, and he got 6 rings.
No, that was Bill Winnington.
Oh.
And then Tony. What was his name? Tony.
The only one I'm
Who was
thinking
the
of
other
is Kukoc, and he could play.
Kukoc, yeah,
Oh, he could play.
But he was the other token white guy on that team after a while.
The only guy that mattered on that team was a guy named Michael Jordan.
They weren't champs till Rodman got there. I'm kidding.
Well, he was good, though. He just outworked everybody. Yeah. And he outplayed everybody. He was like the Michael Irvin of the NBA. But hats
I don't
off to
think
the
Irvin's-
Dodgers.
Yeah, no,
I
great,
think-
great World Series classic.
It was
he
a
had
great
an
World
18 inning
Series.
game. He had 11 inning game. It was the second longest game 7. The Dodgers had to win 2 games in Toronto.
Did you see the play that Valero Jr. made at Guerrero Jr. Vlad made at first?
First, when he
That-
turned that 3-6-3 double play.
Well, and that diving catch.
He is a lot better defensively than I gave him credit for because you never saw we don't see the Blue Jays down here.
Well, he also lost about 50 pounds a couple of years ago. He'd gotten kind of rotund.
Yeah, he was kind of looking a little bit more like Cecil Fielder.
right, and he outgrew that.
Yeah.
Great player. Free agent, I think.
Yeah, I was reading a recap of it, and they erroneously referred to that double play at the end as a 6-4-3. That was 6 unassisted to 3. There was no 4 there.
Yes, and you need to know.
But I called it. I said I said Alejandro hits into a double play to end it, and then sure enough, saws his bat off.
If the Astros stand pat and try to roll into next year with the team they have, it's over.
I agree.
The Astros absolutely, they need to make a few moves that make me and you come in here and go, can you believe that we signed Blake Snell? I mean, we need that type of impact this offseason.
Can we go get Yamamoto?
Boy, was he ended up being the MVP?
Should have been 3 wins in a 7-game series. What are the odds of that?
Yeah, now the
As
only thing
as a non-relief. Well, he came in
Non-starter.
relief, but he was a starter. I mean, the only other time you ever heard maybe something like that was way back when you actually had, relievers that came in.
Shohei Ohtani reiterated or put the exclamation point on the fact that he's the best player in baseball. Certainly the most important player in baseball.
Should not have pitched after that 18-inning game, but didn't matter.
No,
They
he
ended up
came
winning
on,
it anyway.
He came on short rest. Anytime they talk about short rest, I always think about the great Nolan Ryan. And Nolan Ryan's like, give me the ball tomorrow, too. I don't care.
Yeah.
You're paying me $1 million to pitch. Give me the ball.
I think where John Schneider, the manager of the Blue Jays, erred was not keeping Savage in that game longer.
And the Yasavage story is an amazing story. That the kid starts off in A ball, goes to high A ball,
Started off
double A,
in rookie
triple A.
ball, to be
And I mean,
honest.
he's just,
And didn't get a call up until the September roster expansion.
what an ascension.
And then makes their postseason roster, and he would have probably been the World Series MVP had Toronto
Yeah.
pulled that one off.
Scott Tomko says, and Yamamoto will clean the dugout up after the game, too. Yeah. I don't know.
And here's the thing. I can't hate the Dodgers, even though they spent, a record payroll. For some reason, they don't come off like the Yankees, right?
Junior says, I love Yamamoto. I always get the dragon roll.
Oh, Lord.
It's not a Chinese restaurant.
Well, and it's not Chinese anyway. It's Japanese.
Right. I think the Astros, because here, I've told you this before, if you listen, I believe Hunter Brown's going to be a Dodger next year. I think there's going to be some,
Doesn't he have one more year?
yes, but we can't, our
Can't let him go away for
leadership has
nothing?
shown that when we know we can't sign someone, we move them. And we're not going to sign Hunter Brown. They waited too long. They should have locked him down, and they didn't. Torrin Bell says, if I turn my volume to 0, I don't hear the static. Just pretend you're listening on a crystal set.
Yeah.
No, but
It's an old transistor. You're tuning us in from Milwaukee, Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
two things to make a note of is that Hunter Brown is he's one of the top 5 starters in Major League Baseball. He's going to command a huge long-term contract. I mean, I'm talking something like 8 years, $270 million. That's what it's going to take. And the Astros aren't going to pay that. They're not going to pay it. Second thing is Fromber is gone. Fromber is 2 reasons. Number one, I believe Fromber, as much as I've enjoyed him, this year had a little bit of a letdown and also seems to have become somewhat of a team distraction.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe not such a great teammate. So he's gone. If Fromber leaves, remember this: he will sign a huge contract somewhere and will not live up to it. So I'm not upset with him leaving,
Depends who he signs with.
but I can see him leaving 5 years, $200 million.
Because if some 500-ish team thinks that Fromber is going to be the difference maker to push them into the playoffs and become a 20-game winner, it won't happen.
And here's
if he
what'll
goes
happen.
to a stacked team,
Well, he can
he'll
help.
win 16 to 20 games
If he's
and
a
he'll
2
be
to
good.
3 starter,
Yeah.
he can help. Here's what will happen: he'll go somewhere like San Diego. 5 years, $200 million, and in 2 years they'll offer him back to us, and they'll pay 28 of his 40. That's what'll happen. We'll get him back when he's 47 years old and pitching 500 baseball.
Yep.
Do you think that's about right?
Yeah.
But I think Fromber's gone, and whether it be via trade, which would be smart, or attrition at the end of this next season, Hunter Brown is gone. So who do you got? You got French. You got who you got?
Cam Smith.
No, I'm talking about pitchers.
Oh, pitchers.
You got French. You got Arrighetti. You got help me, Monty
Garcia.
Garcia.
You
Luis
got,
Garcia.
yeah, you got all
Injured.
well, that's the
injured.
problem. You got all those guys. You got what's his name? Yeah, you said Arrighetti. So yeah, you got all those guys coming off Tommy John, like half the 40-man roster.
If it were me, and if I were if I believed, if I'm Jim Crane, and I believe in Cam Smith and McCormick and Alvarez, who I would trade Yordan Alvarez. I would, because if you've got Correa and Pena and Paredes, and even though you're going to have to endure, he's still a great teammate, Jose Altuve, still effective with the bat. If I believe those guys can get me back to the championship, and it's crazy that in my lifetime we're talking about winning championships in Houston. We're not just trying to be competitive. We're trying to win the World Series. Then I believe Jim Crane needs to break the code on his wallet and pay what it takes to keep Hunter Brown. Because Hunter Brown could be your ace. He is the guy.
I mean, I'm looking at the list of starting pitchers. Chris Bassett, who I think finished off that game for the Blue Jays, gave up the winning home run. I think he's a starter. Apparently, does not always. I guess I don't know enough about Toronto's. Verlander's back on the market.
Do not need him.
No.
Love him, don't need him.
Nope. Chris Sale's on the market. He's probably the top name. Fromber's on there. Jack Flaherty.
Is that Eovaldi guy on the list?
Yeah, I think he is. Actually.
Well, I'd like to have him.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of really Shane Bieber
But see, I would
pitched
trade
for the Blue Jays.
I would trade
Not bad.
Yordan Alvarez. You agree or disagree? Can't play left. He's always hurt, but he's got such great fan appeal, and he can hit a bunch of home runs. I mean, I'd love for him to be healthy for half a season.
I think if you're looking to rebuild it and not just sort of retool to stay competitive, then I think you move Yordan, and it's for that reason. The guy can't give you a full season, and right now the Astros are at a point where they can't not have somebody like him in the lineup every day because they just proved they couldn't win the division with him not being in the lineup.
Right. Good morning, Mom. I tell you what, I think though that if you were to float out there, which they won't do it publicly, but if Dana Brown floats out there, I got a big stick, who by the way can play a little left field. You know who would love to have Yordan Alvarez? Boston. He hits with power the opposite way. He could just bang doubles off that left field wall at Fenway.
I saw a stat, Dave Kingman, remember him?
He runs well.
Remember Dave Kingman?
Sure.
Played 18 games at Fenway, had 13 home runs.
Well, think about it.
Because
I
that
mean,
was back in the day where there was no interleague play.
it seems absurd to contemplate trading a guy like Yordan Alvarez, but he is locked down. We've paid him. And he looks like a bargain if he hits you 45 home runs.
Yeah.
If you're a team that needs a DH and has maybe one or too many pitchers in the bullpen, we're your team. Let's talk.
Astros update brought to you by First State Bank. Friend this little bank anywhere. Before we get to our break, what do we make of the Longhorns over Vandy as we quickly dive into this one? The game not as close as the final score
Yeah,
indicated. Vandy absolutely clearly outmatched, did not show up to play on what arguably was their biggest stage since 1940.
Yeah, they're
And-
used to playing in a stadium with 41,000 fans. We had 41,000 people in the bathrooms
Yeah.
at that game. At the end of the day, what I got from it is that Diego Pavia is really not a Heisman Trophy contender.
His numbers look pretty good, but he put up a lot when it was
He
over.
really doesn't throw the ball well,
No.
from what I saw. And for
Looked
what it's
completely
worth,
befuddled in
I
the
mean,
first
in the
half.
same breath that I, too, have been somewhat of a critic of Arch Manning, I've taken the position that he's no longer a kid. He's a professional athlete. And if you're going to play like mush, I'm going to call you mush. Arch Manning looked good this week. Looked really good this week. Pitched, threw the ball well, 300-something yards, ran, scored, passing TDs. Texas,
First play, they go 75 yards for a touchdown, and that set the tone for Vandy. They looked deflated after.
Texas was
deflated
never behind.
after that.
At the end of the day, yes, Vanderbilt did not tackle well at all, Greg Garcia. I did make the comment that Texas yards after catch were probably the highest I've ever seen. And it's worth noting that for those that say, oh, Texas barely escaped Vanderbilt, okay, even if we did, they were the top. They were number 9.
6, weren't they?
They were 9, I think. Moved us to 13, which is great. Rena Shear, there's a way that Rena Shear can actually help direct this action. It's called an invoice. The idea that
Pavia? Arch?
no, I apologize. I got distracted by my friend. Texas was ahead by 10 with 33 seconds to go. And, I don't understand why. When they tried the onside kick, if you can't just field it cleanly, why don't you just push it out of bounds? Why did we try to... It was like Monty Python over there, or Benny Hill. Unbelievable.
I don't know.
Folks, Palace Bingo, we're friends meet friends. Come on out to Palace Bingo.
Next
If you're
Thursday.
Anywhere, the 13th is going to be your day to come. Now, I like Patrick Strauss. I'm going to go back to this for a second. Patrick Strauss, you're wrong, and it's the way your brain works because you're an Aggie homer. So let's say that Vanderbilt would have gotten that ball. They had to get the ball. They had to recover the onside kick. They had to move it down into field goal position where their kicker had already missed at least once. They had to not only successfully convert the field goal, they had to find a way to win in overtime. That game was the Aggies were closer last year to winning that game than Vanderbilt was.
Well, but
on Saturday.
here's why, though. I think he has a point that it could go to overtime because at that point, Texas was playing prevent defense, and they lost their intensity on the defensive side of the football.
That's fair. But to assume or to even, I do agree that the game was not as close as the score indicated, and Texas dominated that football game. That's a fact. USA Concrete Coatings, 578 Home. I was proud this weekend. I saw Charlie Garcia's ads on a lot of high-dollar TV ads, and he's getting more pertinent advertising dollars right here and on TV in Corpus than he gets on those national broadcasts.
Absolutely.
USA Concrete Coatings, 578 Home. Give us a call. Give him a call. Go see him. Veracruz Restaurant, today's Monday. Get back in for the best Tex-Mex in Victoria. Veracruz, best salsa, queso, hot sauce. All you have to do is go up Navarro, and they are there.
Right by Airline.
Spoken
Across
like
from
an
Ansonofer. They're right across from Ansonofer.
Spoken like an Aggie. Nobody knows this better than H.R. Mallory. They dominated for 3 quarters, but college football is 4. The Aggies' next statement is always, boy, if there would have only been 5 quarters, we could have won at Natty. Dollar Floor Store. Whether you want tile, laminate flooring, hardwoods,
Carpet.
whatever you want, get in. Dollar Floor Store will help you. White Trash Services and White Trash Site Services. Let White Trash 550-1826. Let White Trash help you. So Pete Strauss makes a good point. Texas dominated 3 quarters. Vandy dominated the 4th. What does that mean? Is it like a moral loss instead of a moral victory? Is that good? The way I look at it, Texas 7-1 or 7-2, 7-1 in SEC play, or 6-4-1 in SEC play, whatever. Georgia has a loss. The only team that doesn't have a loss is the Aggies. That's fair.
HR on the flip side says college football is 4 quarters. So Vandy showing up for 1 doesn't mean they did anything.
That's right.
That's why they lost.
That's exactly why they lost. But it's a mentality. It's an anti-Texas mentality, which leads us to the same idea as the anti-Trump mentality that dominates. So in this case, the Aggies would be the leftists. The anti-Trump mentality that you've heard Gavin Newsom be one of the most outspoken haters of Trump's ballroom. It's now Trump's ballroom. He tore down the historic East Wing of the White House that nobody knows what's in there. And
the same people claiming, that they wanted to save the East Wing of the White House are the same ones that saying schools that are that old are no longer useful.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that Gavin Newsom has been one of the very most outspoken about Donald Trump's $300 million donation-based ballroom. At the same time, Gavin Newsom tore down the historic East Wing of the California State Capitol and is in the middle of a $1.1 billion, 4 times as much money.
The cost on that keeps rising because of cost overruns, because California does a terrible job of negotiating contracts and keeping things under budget.
Taxpayer-based renovation and remodel of the California State Capitol. The hypocrisy of the left is more than ironic. Amazing. HR pointing out that something about Texas. I find what's interesting about Texas is that we are playing top 10 teams. We have 2 wins against top 10 teams. And it's not a put down because, we suffered through it last year as well. You can only play who they put on the schedule, but the Aggies haven't beaten a ranked opponent yet in SEC play. Yeah. It's just worth noting. They're 5-0 against all the nobodies, and that's fine. Good. That's who we beat last year.
Yeah. But Gavin Newsom, by the way, just to finish off that point, decided not to move into the governor's mansion that was remodeled just 10 years ago because it wasn't ready for him to go into, and wanted it to be remodeled again and decided not to go there. So they've got a governor's mansion in California, I believe, sitting empty.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Junior, I'm gonna correct you here. Trump does not need a big ballroom. The United States needs a big ballroom.
Amen, it does.
Apparently, they can only have about 200 people at any sort of state dinner or event at the White House.
John Paul, I was talking about ranked SEC opponents. None of the SEC opponents have been ranked. Texas now settles in at number 13. I imagine the Aggies stayed at 3. Miami lost again. P. Strauss with a solid point. The Horns have an SEC loss to a nobody that Georgia barely survived over the weekend. But I'll take that. That's fine. You will also have a loss to a nobody because Texas will beat you in November. It's coming. It's only weeks away. Texas will beat A&M in Austin resoundingly. Here's what's interesting. If Texas, and this is all done with politics in mind. Why do you think Texas moved to number 13?
To drum up TV ratings.
Right, because if they beat Georgia,
Top 10.
Then they move into the top 10, which puts them in the playoff. And then that sets up a deal where, and by the way, I think the Aggies lose between now and Austin. So the Aggies, and you can hear the whining. This is tomorrow's news today. They'll finish the season with 2 losses. The one to whoever they lose to between now and Texas, and Texas. And they're going, Texas is a 2-loss team, and they lost to Florida. We lost to Texas. Why are we out of the playoff? It's
They won't
coming.
be out of the playoffs.
It's coming. Oh, yeah. If they lose the last game to Texas for their second loss, they'd be out.
No, they won't.
Okay, bet me. Bet me. Anything you want. If they lose 2 games down this stretch, they're not making the playoff. The Aggies will not make the playoff if they lose 2 games.
Lunch.
Just a reminder, neither of you have any money.
True story.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
John Paul, that's fine. Florida says hi to UT. There's no disagreement. Yeah.
But I don't know. Expanded playoffs, 2 losses, you're in.
Okay, we'll go look at the rankings after this. We'll see who you would put them ahead of. By the way, I don't know how OU is still ranked. Of course, they're probably not now.
I don't know.
It's crazy. Talk about Nigeria. Let's talk about Christianity.
Wow, it's interesting that the left is going crazy on social media. What about the War Powers Act? Blah, 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 blah.
That's because they're idiots.
Because President Trump put Nigeria on notice. This has to be the Bill Maher effect. Because I don't believe the State Department was giving a crap about Nigeria. And I'm sure the intel was coming in and they just didn't care. But now all of a sudden, this is where the president's attention is turned to. Because he can't turn it to anything here because the government shut down because the Dems won't reopen it.
But is this
And
where...
that's the funny thing on this. Why is he worried about Nigeria when this government won't reopen? Well, that's the Dems' problem to figure out at this point.
100%. Is this where, though, that people say, there's a separation of church and state. You can't go all around the world fighting people over Christianity. It's not the official religion of this country.
Well, he hasn't fought anybody yet.
His comment is this: if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria, which we should do anyway, and may very well go into the now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I have no problem with that. We were talking the other day about these fools that get all worked up about these Venezuelan dope boats getting blown up. And a guy on Facebook made just a solid point. He goes, in 1975, the United States military had the technology to read a license plate from 80,000 feet via an SR-71 reconnaissance plane. If you don't think that 50 years later we know what's inside those boats,
Absolutely.
then you're just stupid. We can't fix stupid. We can tolerate it, we can educate it, we can even medicate it, but we can't fix it because stupid is forever.
Well, and think about where those boats are coming from.
Venezuela,
Venezuela, communist country.
that exports drugs for
Yeah.
a living, and their president is all for it. Yeah, kill them all, no problem. Next.
Over the weekend, the president also designated Nigeria, or said he would designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern.
Under the
Them's fighting
1998
words.
International Religious Freedom Act.
I don't know why. I mean, if Islamic terrorists are running the country, why don't we just throw them on the terrorist list and be done with it?
And then quit sending them money.
Quit sending them money, quit letting them come here.
That kind of motivates their people to get back in line. Which, for example, if you really don't pay SNAP, it might motivate some of these Democrat voters to think about their leadership. It's worth noting that 42 million people are on the government tit. And it's dry, it's dusty. Much like some of our local protesters. It's dusty.
Here's part of the problem I've got. You got District Judge Jack McConnell, U.S. District Judge, said in a ruling from Rhode Island that the USDA must use the $5 billion it has in contingency funds for SNAP. Apparently, the USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins said they don't have that money But why does a judge all of a sudden at the U.S. District Court level
Like he matters.
start to run our country, continue to run our country? This is a real problem we have in this country, is our judges and our courts are making way too many rulings usurping Congress.
Out of their pay grade. The federal government pays $9 billion a month for the program. $9 billion. And you know, just like you've heard us say here for years, if you're working for minimum wage, you should probably be 18, 19, 20 years old, going to college, living at home. That money should somewhat supplement your life. But if you're living on SNAP, if that is your sustenance plan, oh my goodness, what are we going to do because we don't have SNAP? Get a jobby job, Snoop Dogg.
I got a better idea. Instead of the government auctioning off all these MREs to various
like it.
agencies,
Give them MREs.
give the SNAP folks MREs.
I like it.
Maybe send better food for the kids, but let the adults eat MREs instead of loading up.
If it's good enough to feed our military in times of
Absolutely.
war, it ought to be good enough for the kids. Here's some tuna fish, Billy.
Here's the mac and cheese. Shake the pouch, heat it up.
Thank the Democrats.
Yeah, I
still don't understand the logic, even though it's just hocus pocus. It's like now you see him, now you don't. It's like that. I don't understand the idea that you've got 53 Republicans in the Senate. They've all said, let's ratify the exact same continuing resolution that Chuck Schumer voted for over and over. And let's do it. No way. And the Democrats are saying, if we vote now, we give up our leverage.
Yeah.
You have no leverage. Once again, you are running your party further under the ground. Everybody knows, including Senator Fetterman, that if just 7 Democrats, I'm not asking them to be traitors, I'm asking them to be Americans. Let's just all get together and kick the can down the road a little bit further. Look at that. H.R. Mallory says, you laugh, but the Chili Mac MRE is, man, it's a chef's
How do you
kiss.
go bad with
Chef's
chili
kiss.
mac?
You can't go
You
bad
can't
with
go
chili
wrong with
mac.
chili mac. Does it have beans or no beans? That's what I want to know.
No,
HR.
that's chili with beans, right?
But maybe not in the military.
True.
But here, how far are we kicking the can down the road? Because I think
couple weeks, isn't it?
now, yeah, I think we're only getting to Thanksgiving, right? Doesn't even get us through Christmas. Then we're right back at this because Congress can't seem to pass a budget, and this is what we've been doing for how many years? I think since the Clinton administration,
Yeah.
right? The last balanced budget, Clinton.
Yeah, like in '92.
We've been CRing this thing. It's
and
ridiculous.
blaming each other when, as our own Michael Cloud says, when the Democrats are in charge, we rush towards the fiscal cliff, and when the Republicans are in charge, we just saunter slowly
Yeah.
towards the fiscal cliff.
Probably a jog.
At the end
It's
of
like
the
the
day,
difference between harness horses and thoroughbreds.
at least in this case, the Democrats tell you the truth. They want to tax and spend. The Republicans tell you that they want to lower spending and lower taxes, but they don't. They don't. Now, I'm not saying Michael Cloud doesn't, because I think he actually does. I think he's consistently voted to make things better. But the bottom line is Congress is about taking your money and redistributing it. That's what they're about.
And for the Dems, it's about taking your money, make it seem like they're being charitable
Yeah.
and trying to save everybody around the globe except for Americans.
They're doing you a favor by
Yeah.
taking your money. Yeah. Callie Farmy says this SNAP matter ought to wake up the Democrats and socialists to realize that what the government giveth, the government can taketh away. Absolutely the truth.
Yeah.
Yes, and Bill Clinton didn't balance the budget. Newt Gingrich and Congress balanced the budget. They said, no, we're not doing it.
361-894-4020 if any of you listening on radio on the No Bull Network or Magic want to weigh in on this one. If you're a SNAP benefit receiver and you're not getting your SNAP,
If you're a SNAP
What are you
benefit
doing?
receiver, chances are you're not up this early in the morning and actually going to work. 1 out of 8 people in this country on SNAP.
I mean, I can't tell if some of these viral videos are actually legit or if they're just people mocking the system. But I watched one over the weekend of a lady who makes several of these complaining that her SNAP benefits are ending, and the only reason she had 6 kids was to get more $4,400 a month, apparently, she's receiving according to her claims. And I don't know this woman's name. I just can't imagine the sentence some judge had to hand out for somebody to sleep with this woman 6 times.
But you know that the reality is, they say that people are like getting their nails done, and all. What you've done is you've created a system where the SNAP allows you to go and say buy a brisket. You can buy food with your SNAP. But then people are bartering and trading that for goods and services, which, if I'm honest, I don't have a problem with. I could stop it by just folding down the SNAP program altogether. But the poor will always be among us. And it makes sense, the elderly poor, the extremely mentally challenged folks. As a society, as a civilized society, I want to take care of those people. And I could argue that the government is not the best way to do it, but I do think that a cooperative funding is probably the best way to do it. So you try to figure out how do you make it work? Somebody, and see, this is not popular these days, somebody's got to make a determination. Gee, Ash, you're special, but you're not special enough. So we're not going to
Thank
give
you.
you know.
That woman was making $52,000, almost $53,000 a year on
Yeah.
SNAP benefits if her story's true.
Thank you, Linda Christ. She says forced charity never works.
Well, it's because it's not charity.
It's
Charity
coercion.
is the giving freely of your own will and of your own resources to help somebody in need.
Yes.
The government does not freely give anything. They forcibly take your money from you via taxation
Yes.
and then give it to somewhere where you have no say over it at all, except the left goes, well, we voted for them, so that's why they can do what they want to do.
Junior adds, leave it to the churches to feed and harbor the poor.
Well, but here's part of the problem with that too, Junior. It was fraught with fraud. And I'm not saying this, but this is part of the reason why the government got involved. Fraud in the churches, and they were very selective on who they helped.
Yeah.
And now we have the NGOs who hide behind religious institutions, defrauding our government of billions of dollars every year and enabling the criminal activity and the slave trade that goes on through the illegals that they've been advocating for the last 8 years or 4 years of the Biden administration and the Obama administration before that. It's sickening, the corruption and the illegal activity that our government funds, claiming they're doing things legitimately and legally. It's disgusting, folks.
YouTube listener chimes in, the bartering and selling of SNAP for cash has been occurring since the 80s, if not longer. It's a crazy system.
I used to get my hair cut at a place in town, and not every time I was there, but once in a while I'd be there, and some guy would drive by in his pickup truck, which he had a freezer in the back, and he would be selling the steaks that he bought with his SNAP for the cash,
Yeah.
so he could then go and buy whatever he needed to buy with it. They were pretty good deals back in the day. I can't imagine they're probably even better deals now because it's not his money. He doesn't care. He can get snapped out the wazoo and buy $20 steaks at H-E-B or Walmart and then sell them for $10 on the hoof, and nobody cares because I'm getting a $10 steak or $20 steak for $10, and he's getting his beer and smoke money for the next month.
It does. I'll admit that as an American, and especially as a Texan, it's quite irritating. It's like forced judgmentalism. I don't mean to judge people, but it's quite irritating when I'm at HEB and a guy rolls up in a new pair of Air Jordans and he's all tatted up, which isn't free,
And
he
cheap.
loads up 3 or 4 packages of ribeyes and whips out a card to use for that's not a debit card, while I'm buying hamburger to feed my family and realize that my tax dollars just bought those ribeyes.
And you're not buying.
Because he spent his money on tats and Air Jordans, or he traded the ribeyes for them.
And you're not buying extra lean. You're buying 80-20. Maybe
Yeah, I'm buying
70-30.
I'm buying that ground chuck.
In the
Speaking
tub.
of ground chuck, get by the Chopping Block this week. Chopping Block has great, fresh ground hamburger meat. I don't know why. I can't explain it. But if you make a burger with their hamburger meat, it simply doesn't shrink up and go away.
It's not full of fat.
I'm telling you, it's good hamburger. Chesnick Furniture. Chesnick invites you to come down and see all the bedding options, whether you want Stearns & Foster, Tempur-Pedic. What else you got over there? Sealy Posturepedic. They've got it all. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Get in and see why you just always do better at Chesnick. Paravita Wellness. Man, drop a few pounds between now and the holidays. Get
sure,
in
yeah.
and eat healthy. Take your macros in. Take your blood work in. Sit down with Erica Briggs.
She'll help you sort all that out.
Yeah, let her help you. She can help you with gluten-free, preservative-free. It's free. It'll make you free. Go by Went Services for all your electrical needs. Let Went help you put down you need a new plug. You want to mount a TV on the wall, but you don't want all those cords? Let Went drop an outlet for you. Easy things, difficult things. That's what they do. They are the best. Call Went for turnkey generator service. Videos and pictures of Junior's install forthcoming. And, of course, Atzenhofer. Since 1926, Atzenhofer is Victoria's dealership and this region's dealership. If you can hear my voice, Atzenhofer is a great place for you to come find your next Chevy truck.
Or get it serviced.
Come on in. They're
Daryl.
the best.
Daryl does a great job. By the way, congrats to Daryl. Saw he got married over the weekend.
Hey, good for him. Jennifer Rayburn reminding everybody, don't forget to vote tomorrow.
17 constitutional amendments on the state ballot for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Still looking through them. If you haven't early voted, there's some that I will vote for. There's a handful of them that I will not.
I guess if you're too lazy to read them,
I don't think we need to
yeah. I mean,
go through them all.
the print on this looks like
That came straight from the Secretary of State's office.
they don't want you to read them.
No.
You gotta vote for them.
Well, because there's 17 of them. If there were half that many, it'd be legible.
It's like they're saving. 17. It just seems like a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. You know what else I find interesting about this whole SNAP debacle? Is all these claims over the weekend that, well, for every dollar on SNAP, it's $1.80 in economic
does that
activity.
work?
For every dollar in SNAP, it's $1.57 in economic activity.
How does that work?
It just shows you we're propping up the. It's just another subsidy.
Hello, Kendall.
But here's the thing. If that's the case, if government is subsidizing the producers and the stores and all this, where's that savings coming back to us? It's not. It's like the student loan thing. Federal government gives out student loans. Tuition didn't drop accordingly.
You think that Mamdani guy is going to take care of all that? Is he? He says he's going to. What did he do? He's going to freeze the rent, provide free transportation, and free child care for everybody in New York City. Sure he is. But
Well,
taxes.
yeah.
He says I'm just going to tax the rich.
I don't know enough about the city council makeup in New York to know if he can get away with all this. He doesn't have he can't wave his magic wand and want it to be done. I mean, he wants it to be done. he can't get it done just by taking his gavel and going, boom, I decree it, so there it is. But
What he forgets, though, is that the rich are mobile.
yeah,
Why can't they just
and
load up and go to
they
Florida?
have a lot of them have.
Yeah.
New York, Chicago exodus of people making good incomes, and you're left with people on SNAP who need rent control. Elon Musk, love him or hate him, was on the Joe Rogan show recently on his podcast and talked about the gerrymandering and why California wants things the way it is. He says Donald Trump didn't win this next election or the last election. And the next one too.
He might win
I
the
might
next
as well tick off all the
Trump
Democrats. listening.
28.
Trump 2028. Then the Republicans would never have won another election because the illegals,
Yeah. They were going
the
to give more citizenship.
gerrymandering, the government assistance living. That's the Democrats' votes. They buy their votes. That's how they do it. That's how they keep their voter base. And
Placated.
when you've got half of a country that will vote for Kamala Harris knowing she's a bumbling idiot as president and be absolutely fine with the fact that she was installed as their
Yeah.
candidate.
And yet they talk about the Republicans ignoring, quote unquote, democracy.
Yeah.
They just instilled her. I read a deal over the weekend. I don't remember whose book it is. Maybe you will if I say this, or Cody might, where former President Barack Obama really lashed out at Nancy Pelosi over her stepping up and endorsing Kamala Harris. And he was like, "What have you done?" In fact, the quote included an F, a word that began with an F. What have you effing done about her support of Kamala Harris? And then, of course, he had to get on board and say how great she was. It's well known now. Barack Obama really, really disliked Joe Biden. Thought Joe Biden was just an idiot. He was just the white dude assigned to Barack Obama because Barack Obama had no track record. I love you too, Kendall. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, Kelly says don't forget the free grocery stores he's promised in New York.
Yeah, Junior says they get free grocery stores. I'm buying a box truck and heading up there once every 3 months. Yeah, I'll go with you.
Well, but here's the thing. They're going to have to ration it. Even
Well,
if they are able to pull it off, you're not going to be able to walk in there and get everything you want.
Junior, we'll use your SNAP card, and then we'll come back and sell that stuff for 50 cents on the dollar. Yeah. I don't understand why anybody with any sense would want a government-owned grocery store. If for no other reason, if it doesn't make you think about like Dick's Food Stores or Moore's in Corpus, can you imagine if the Corpus Christi City Council opened a grocery store next to a legacy, locally owned, family-owned, local grocery store? How tragic is that?
HEB wouldn't allow it, first off.
Well, HEB's bigger than the government.
But they're family owned.
Yeah. Yep. I can't think of any. I can't think of the idea that having a government-owned grocery store is an advantage to the people is just so ignorant laced. It's hard to deal with.
The Affordable Care Act Health Care Marketplace opened up November 1.
Thanks, Barack.
Yeah. It's funny a little bit how Axios has to try to bring this back, so not blame Barack Obama.
100% Barack's problem.
Axios claims that healthcare, the cost of healthcare for an American family with typical employer-sponsored coverage has gone up, tripled in 20 years. But they have to go back 20 years to find a tipping point where, because at that point it hadn't even doubled. Between 2005 and 2010, it went from about $12,000 to about $17,000. 2010 hits, which is the ACA passing, and it's gone from about $17,000 to $35,000, above $35,000 this year.
What's that little flat line, right? It was going up at about a 60-degree angle. And then
COVID.
it just flattened out. Right? You know what that is right there? That's when Donald Trump was
Oh,
president.
that's true.
Flattened out. Here's the deal. I had a guy that, well, I'll tell you who the guy is. He's now the president of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas. He's the guy. He used to run a hospital. And at the time, people were talking about how that, well, 1 out of 10 Americans has no health care. They've got no health care. Now, forget the fact that every illegal in this country, if they have a runny nose, they go to the emergency room where nobody is refused help. And you don't have to pay at the moment. So everything that happens to an illegal is an emergency. They go to the emergency. My kid's got an earache, emergency room. Okay? Oh, he's got a Cheerio in there. We'll take it out, emergency room. Your tax dollars pay for that. Now, at the time, this hospital administrator said if 1 out of 10 people in this country has no health insurance, the cheapest way to fix it is just to give those 10 people, that 10%, a Blue Cross Blue Shield card and adjust everybody's premiums accordingly. And people went, oh, no way. Are you talking about like a 10% increase for me? Well, it's gone up 7% annualized every year since.
And what do they tell you? Well, there's high deductible options available to keep your premiums low, but God forbid you ever get sick and you don't get a benefit until you reach that deductible.
Yep. It would have been cheaper to just say, if you're an American, you can prove you're a citizen, we're just going to give you a card. And here you go. Now,
It'd be cheaper to just raise the thresholds for Medicare, or Medicaid, whichever one is. I don't remember. I can
but
never
at least
remember.
this solution with the Blue Cross keeps it in the private sector, keeps the incentive on Blue Cross to keep negotiating with hospitals to keep costs down. Medicare and Medicaid, they don't care. Your tax dollars are paying for it.
So many doctors are getting out of the profession because of the medical billing now.
Yeah, if you don't bill it right the first time to the government, it's punitive by design for you to get paid. You better have the right code at the right time, and if you don't, as you should have that. It's just like a police officer. You better have a good case before you go to the DA. You better have your I's dotted and your T's crossed before you send it to the federal government. But if you don't, Monty Howard, showing his age, along with mine, once upon a time, really not that long ago, no one had health insurance. It was in my lifetime. I never went to the doctor as a kid until I broke something or needed stitches.
Well, the problem is it's not really health care. It's health insurance, and it's give you a pill for this, give you a pill for that, rather than teaching you how to live a better life so you don't need the pill.
Linda Chris says, use Christian health care. It's less than $500 a month. You just call. If you have a headache, press 1 now. If you have an ear infection, press 2 now.
Well, yeah, I don't know if, for some folks, their doctors don't accept it. So there's issues with some of those health care sharing plans.
Yeah. Folks, we appreciate you listening in today from all over the network. Corpus Christi, welcome in. Goliad.
No Bull Network, thanks for joining us again. We'll be back here tomorrow.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. Every Monday through Friday.
Tomorrow, maybe we can have a more cheery day. Well, Cody, find something.
Well, we'll see if the Cowboys win tonight. We might.
Wow, go Cowboys. Go Aggies, hook 'em horns. Have a great day, folks.
Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.